This is Florence Carmela and James Patrick of the Forum Celebrity Podcast, and we are back to talk more true crime.
And you guys, first of all, before we start, we always like to give a little bit of shout out love to people. This week, we're going to do my sister, who's always been very supportive, and Julia, my niece. Shout out to Israel. Toothpick and Nala, of course, have to be. And Vincent, thanks to everybody that's been so supportive of us.
Yes. Family, friends, my cousins too, Carmela, Teresa,
Carmela,
wonderful.
Elsa.
Yes, my aunt.
Yeah, Josephine, all the great people. And we thank you all for your kindness. So hopefully we entertain you a little bit. Let's get right into it.
Yes, let's talk the Idaho 4.
Now, this, as everyone has said, has been talking about the 911 call. I heard one radio station in Baltimore say, if you have friends like this, leave them. Yeah. So here's what happened. What ended up happening is during the Idaho 4 incident where we tragically lost 4 people. About 4 to 4:30, I think it was the time span, the 2 roommates were texting each other. Then in the morning, it was 11:58 to be exact, they called 911 and said, there's someone in our lawn that's passed out. Now, their nonsense phone call at 911, passing the phone to each other, barely talking. I mean, it was obvious they called in their little minds. They thought this was going to help them in some way. Now, everyone, if you're going to do true crime, do the evidence. I'm so sick of 90% of these shows. They pretend. They make up stuff. They heard rumors and all this stuff. We're not going to do that. We're going to get to what happened and also maybe what we think may have happened. But in a situation like this, these people were just horribly, done in. And anyone that's been, I had a friend that she actually cleaned up crime scenes. Like when people did their horrible deeds, she cleaned it up. And I've been to scenes and also in the ER when you have people that are stabbed or people that have gone through something very bad. The smell of blood you just smell it. I mean, and this house was drenching in it.
And no one mentioned it in the phone call.
And so if you heard the call, Florence, and we talked about it, they just called and they're talking. And what's really interesting is they whispered, and you heard it in the background. About 2 or 3 minutes into it, they said, poor Kaylee. Kaylee was one of the victims. If they didn't know, which they were saying they didn't know, there is blood everywhere. It's obviously probably reeks, and they knew something was happening because they were texting to each other back and forth. And what ended up happening is, I don't mean to laugh at the situation, but what kind of idiot doesn't call 911? Are we at a point in society where we don't want to get involved that much? I mean, that's the only thing I could think of. It's just bizarre.
What surprised me is they were obviously scared. They were obviously concerned and worried based on the text messages. And when we listened to the audio for the phone calls, it was obvious they were passing the phone around to different people, but it was obvious everybody was freaked out. There was even somebody hyperventilating, and there were lots of people in that house coming and going. But again, like James said earlier, you couldn't call 911. You were texting each other. You knew something was going on. You were afraid. You saw somebody standing all in black. You saw somebody there, but yet you don't call 911. And then when you are on the phone, finally, hours later to call 911, you don't mention the blood. You don't mention, like James said, the smell, or just, something happened. Why not tell them? And I'll never understand. I could understand being a woman and being afraid to go if you think that there's something horrible happening and there's a man, walking around at night and you're a girl and you're afraid. I understand that. But you're on the phone. You're text messaging. Call 911.
Yeah,
That's all you have to do.
In my opinion, if these were guys, you got cute little blonde girls and no one's questioning anything. I mean, in the media, you saw they were traumatized and I'm sorry, they're texting the whole time. They called one of their friends to come over. Then they come over, and 7 hours after this incident, they call. Something is not right. Did they have drugs? Were they doing something they shouldn't have been doing? I mean, this is obviously a huge party house, party girls, and it's just doing whatever. And they were more worried. Maybe they wanted to, and this has happened a lot of times, they wanted to clean up the house, get rid of the drugs. And I'm not saying that happened. Everything's allegedly.
We weren't there. This is alleged.
Alleged, but I do the math, and this is ridiculous. But for them, death trumps everything. These are your friends. Oh my gosh. Could you imagine with friends like this?
No.
Is this, and we have looked up on the news dozens to hundreds of stories where young people did horrible things to each other. I mean, horrific things. And people are acting like, it's always happened this. No, they're doing things I've never even heard of. One mom I saw a video of, and she went into her son's room to clean it. She found body parts. Oh my gosh. Another one who killed a cheerleader. The police come over to her house, and she's cleaning his jeans. I mean, come on, you guys, what is going on? Are parents so detached? Something is wrong with our society? There's just too much of this nonsense going on, and it's vile. I mean, it's just crazy. Also, the DNA evidence, some have said, oh, well, this is going to happen. So what if the lawyer, of course, every lawyer is going to she wanted all the evidence out. And so she asked it, and the judge ruled on it, and the judge literally says, there's only one thing you're missing. We found his DNA on the sheath of the knife, and it was in the room. That's the bottom line, counselor. That's what he exactly said. So, of course, you were going to want everything thrown out. But his DNA was found. Now some are saying IgG, it's a new type of technology where what they do is they go to they did a check. They couldn't find him, so they did a familial check through some of the things that they saw with the car and with other things going on with this phone. And they found DNA of the father, and they got it through a garbage can from garbage that was thrown away. Now they're saying their constitutional rights were done. They threw it away. It was in the garbage. So they got
once you throw it away.
Yeah, they got the garbage man to get it. I mean, it's just ridiculous. So lawyers are going to do that. I mean, when you get in trouble, I've been sued. I remember one time, I'm half Spanish, and one of my employees sued me for not liking Spanish people, for being racist to Spanish people. And I'm Spanish, so I had to get a lawyer, and it was they were cutthroat, and he was a slime ball, but that's what you get at a lawyer. Those are the lawyers you want, because they'll save your butt. And I got off. There was no problem with it. So, but anyway, so the judge did not throw out the DNA, and some are trying to say this is going to get thrown. Nope. Judge said, nope, it's admissible. And if your DNA is at the scene, did I think he did it? Yes. My opinion is, of course he did it. He almost bragged about it. And he did it. I
think he studied this for years, and
he got off on this, and he's a serial killer, and anybody that lets this guy off should have to live in his neighborhood. That's how strong I feel. I'm so sick of criminals getting off, Casey Anthony. I'm so sick of it. And she's demented, but that's for another day. Another thing that we wanted to get into, and why don't you start it off, Florence?
The Menendez case, I know that a lot of people were really upset because it looks like they're not going to be coming home, but they still will be appearing in front of a judge.
Yeah, a lot of people are saying this isn't over, but when the DA won't prosecute and the governor says no, I mean, he's not going to give leniency or clemency. It's pretty much a done deal. So I don't see them getting out. I personally think they should rot, but things that happen to them, I'm sure that, they're not, I don't know if they're not provable or they haven't been proven, but like I said, I just, I doubt if they get out, and that's just kind of the way it goes. District attorney, just absolutely ridiculous. He did this not for the Menendez brothers. He did this for himself.
To get reelected.
Yeah, to get reelected.
That's what they say, supposedly.
Now, if you guys follow, and I try not to, but you have to, influencers, there are some good ones, 10, 20%, Dolly and some of the shows that Florence listens to. These people are amazing. But there's a lot of people on TikTok that are doing this. They make up stuff for views. They make up evidence. I mean, I saw one that they found his evidence all over, and it was two accomplices. And I mean, it gets ridiculous. But influencers a rash of them have been, unalived, we'll call it, during live streams. And some of them have done some vile things to people. And you're seeing more and more of these influencers because there's so many. Oh my gosh, if I see one more family vlog doing stupid skits and dances, I'm going to throw up. But like I said, they make money out of it. And we've talked about, but we're hoping they'll put a law at least at 18. I mean, there are just some sleazy things going on.
There needs to be a law where these young children are protected.
Yeah.
And even though it's their parents, they shouldn't be allowed.
And they need to be protected from their parents because some of these parents are making the sites. But it's amazing how many people are live streaming. There was one in Japan that got stabbed during a live stream. She was, I believe, a call girl or something and milked a guy for 4 years for money. He finally she kept borrowing money and she kept not caring about it and using her, and he said, no way, this is enough. So there's just a lot of nonsense. You see a lot of pranks. I saw an older elderly woman get knocked down because these guys doing these pranks in Walmart and Target now, pretending they're have guns or pretending they're stealing or being chased. And it's just if you're going to do that, come on, you guys. The internet is so polluted. We've got to get back to being good content and finding out fun stuff about different things. And obviously true crime is not fun, but at least, let's get back to normalcy. We got enough insanity with all these things, and it's sad that we can do true crime because there's so much going on.
True crime also, one of the things I like about Dolly Vision, he's one of the true crime podcasters that I watch and that I follow. And he also goes out and looks for these children. He also goes out on these searches, and he does a lot of good, and he's tried to help so many people. And that's one of the things about true crime that I do like, is that it can be helpful and that they can assist in certain ways. I know the police obviously are in charge, the FBI in some cases, but I think that, again, you can do some good, you can do some positivity, but not all influencers are the same, and we know that.
Now, the ones that I really enjoy are Dolly. He's cool. He and I think a lot alike.
Yes.
So he's cool, except he has a better accent than I do. I got a lazy California accent. He has a Southern accent. But it's the diving teams. You have these diving teams that are on YouTube, and they're actually finding people that have been lost for decades, or finding people. The Oregon kid, I believe, was found by a diving team from YouTube. I'm not quite sure, but there's so many cases now that police are not thrilled with them because it shows them up. And when they find a body or something, the way that they're treated by the police sometimes blows me away. But the families are so appreciative, because I couldn't imagine just losing a family member and never knowing what happened. So these dive influencers and other people, I don't even call them influencers. I don't like that word. I don't like that name. So to me, just podcasters and vloggers, and they're doing some amazing work, and they're doing cold cases. And Dolly's the same way. He'll go look for kids, and it's just ridiculous how many kids and how many young women are missing in the United States.
Sebastian Rogers out of Tennessee is the big story. That's what got me hooked on watching Dolly, because he was covering that, and he really does a great job. And I think that, if my child was missing, or any child in my family, any young adult, I have nieces and nephews, I would be beside myself, and I'd want to be out there looking, and I would be so appreciative of anybody who would help, and anybody who would do that, go out of their way to go search for family members.
Yeah, the Sebastian Rogers case is another one with a family very shady. A lot of things going on that just don't add up. And even the 2-year-old in Oregon, my gosh, how do you leave a 2-year-old walking around? Oh, by the way, we live near a river. So, I mean, not that, we can't judge, but I'm telling you, it's just common sense is, I don't even call it uncommon sense. The other day, a guy figured out something. I was real happy for him. And I said, oh, you have an uncommon sense. He goes, you mean common? And I go, no, uncommon sense, because people don't have common sense no more. So, but anyway, you guys, also, we wanted to give a lot of people March Madness. I know me and my sister have always been in it. I've been able to go to some games in the past, and it's amazing time. So I hope if you're into that, you're going to get your brackets done at work or wherever. Make sure your boss doesn't see, because I know that's a big deal in some workplaces. They don't like people doing it. But you guys, those are the stories that we have for today. We're going to have some celebrities also in our podcast. Never announce anything.
No.
We learned the hard way.
No, we wait until it's done.
We've got some really A-listers. I mean, it's amazing. And they reached out to us. We rarely reach out to people. They always reach out to us. So it's people like you that support us, that have given us a name. And we're going to grow and grow. And we're back in rhythm. And we're going to be doing this for a long time. So thank you all for your kindness. Put down what you think about. We always read, and some of you have some interesting theories, and I agree with some of you guys. You guys got some smarts, and that's the kind of people that we want following us. Be cool about it. Be clean. We don't know if the families are going to be looking at these, and you never know. Friends, family, whoever. We don't want to insult anybody, but we also want to keep it real and give you the facts. Take care, everybody. Have a great week, and thank you again for supporting us. Take care.
Thank you. Bye-bye.